Adyante jati dharma kula dharma tasashvataha.
By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated.
Utsanna kula dharmanam manusyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavati tyanusushruma.
O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell.
Aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavastita vayam yad rajya sukalobhyena hantu swajanamudyataha.
Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts, driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kinsmen.
Yadi mam pratikaram asashram sashtrapanayah dartarasharane hanyu stanme kshemataram bhavet.
Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield.
Sanjay uvacha eva muktvarjuna shanke radopasta upavishat vishrujya sacharam chapam soka samvigna manasaha.
Sanjay said, Arjuna, having this spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with the grief.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Mataji, should I play?
No, I think we'll
Kirtana?
start. No, I think I'll start because it's going to be 7. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you
Mataji.
so much. I see Sinchana Bhatt also there. Hello. Hi. Hare Krishna, Sinchana ji. How are you?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I'm fine.
How are you? So nice to have you. So when are you going to recite?
Mataji, I actually forgot which chapter it was.
Check with Amrita Mataji, okay?
Yes, Mataji.
Lovely having you. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Nagammai Mataji, and thank you so much, Krishna Kumarji, as always. You all are wonderful. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for everything that you do. You all are fabulous. Thank you so much. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to our program, the Bhagavad Gita, the overview of the Bhagavad Gita in 18 days. And I'm really happy to be facilitating this for you for the next 18 days, starting today. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope you will keep the enthusiasm and join our classes regularly, and enjoy the benefits that come along with the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, and as well as it'll keep you thinking all the time, and it'll only help you to kind of see higher and gain better things for yourself in life, and there'll not be a moment of regret that you will ever have once you understand this great literature, this great scripture. The philosophy of Sanatana Dharma is what Bhagavad Gita is going to really help you understand. And not only just understand, it'll also give you a lot of tools to exercise it in your day-to-day life, and that is what is going to give you that enormous pleasure of this great scripture. And it is just not a scripture, it is like having God with you always. Okay, so Hare Krishna. So let me share my screen with you, and we'll do the Mangala Charana, and after the Mangala Charana I'll start the class. And this Mangala Charana is available for you on the Veda base. Everything that we are going to speak, or the way everything that we are going to convey to you in these sessions is all available in the Veda base or in the dictionary where we have housed all the books and all the literature of Srila Prabhupada and of ISKCON. Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guruhu Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaguna Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpata Rubhyascha Kripa Sindhobhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So welcome again. Just let me know if you can see my screen. Hare Krishna. Can you see my slide?
Yes, Mataji.
Very good. Thank you so much. So this program is brought to you by, from ISKCON Radha Govinda Temple, Mangalore. And this will be an 18 days course, which will give you an overview of the Bhagavad Gita. And then I'm sure, we hope that this will kindle your interest and you will stay on with this great scripture all through your life. And that is our intent. And that is what we are looking for. And we would be happy to kind of, help you and assist you to pursue this journey of yours as long as you want. Okay, so let's make a beginning today. And thank you so much for joining. And definitely this is not an accident that you are here today. It is definitely by way of, providence. And, it is meant for you to be, understanding this great scripture, this knowledge. And I'm sure you're going to put this to use, effective use in your day-to-day life, not only now, but always, all through your life. Okay. Hare Krishna. So now we have, the Bhagavad Gita that we are going to cover is based on the teachings of our Guru and the founder Acharya of ISKCON. He is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Abhay Charanar Vrinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He is a founder Acharya of ISKCON. So now I'm going to just stop for a moment. What does ISKCON stand? What is the full form of ISKCON? Hare Krishna. Can somebody tell me what is the full form of ISKCON? Hare Krishna. What is the full form of ISKCON? Any of our participants have joined us today?
International Society of Krishna Consciousness.
শ্রাবণী জি একটু কম আপনার দেরে একটু মিউটে রাখুন. Hare Krishna. So yeah, thank you so much for that answer. That's absolutely correct. So let me get back to sharing my screen with you. Okay, so we are going to base this on the divine teachings of Guruji, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. He was born in Kolkata in the year 1896, much before all of us were born. And he was an educated man. He went to he did his bachelor's of arts in the Scottish Church College of Kolkata, which still stands today. Of course, I'm saying Kolkata, but it's written Calcutta because back then it was Calcutta. And he was someone who had his contemporaries at that time were people like Subhash Chandra Bose. They were his seniors, then people like Rabindranath Tagore. So all of them had a great influence on Srila Prabhupada. but of course his inclination was more on the spiritual path. And for a short time, he also joined the freedom movement of Mahatma Gandhi ji. And then he joined his family business, which was into, into pharmacy. And then, around the same time, he also happened to meet his guru, who is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And his Guruji, told him that, look, you have a great control, a command over the language. His English is impeccable. If any of you read his books, trust me, you will crack any of the, vocabulary examination in the world, whether it's GRE or GMAT or CAT or your CLAT or any exam that you wish to choose to take, you will crack it, because his English is exemplar. And his guru said, look, you have the great command over the language. So I want you to kind of use your spiritual inclination and as well as the great superb command that you have over the language, to kind of use it for spreading the message of Krishna. So to spread Krishna consciousness, not only in the country, but across the world. This is something his Guruji said. And at that time, probably Prabhupada didn't have any idea as to what this really actually meant for him, because he was a grihastha, he was married, he had children, and he had his family business to take care of. And then in 1944, he kind of got into publishing a magazine called Back to Godhead. Even at that time, he had very, very meager resources. But somehow he made it happen. It just happened. Things just fell in place. There were a lot of people who supported him through donations and as well as a lot of, whatever money. Hare Krishna, yes?
Sneha's is late.
Yeah?
Sneha's is late.
I'm sorry, who's this?
Sneha's is late.
What? I'm sorry, who is this? Hare Krishna? Is everything okay?
It's okay, everything, ma'am.
I think
Okay.
many of you are having,
Continue it.
yeah, many of you are having connectivity issues. So I would suggest, what happened? Is everything okay with everybody?
Yes, ma'am. Only 30 network issues here.
Okay, no problem. If there's any network issues and all, please, put it in chat. So I will look up chat. Okay. Hare Krishna. Okay. So is there anything in the message? International, great, Amit Ghosh. Thank you so much. Vamsi Krishna ji, thank you so much. That's great, a great answer. Okay, now let me get back to my presentation. Okay, so he started this publication called Back to Godhead, and you can, look these issues up. I will give you a link where you can look up these issues. There are wonderful articles written by a lot of his disciples. And I had the good fortune of, getting copies of these books because my father was associated with ISKCON, in the 80s. So I have seen these magazines for glossy pages and lovely articles, for everybody, for the elders and as well as for children. Yeah. And then in 1949, he was bestowed with the title of Swami Bhakti Vedanta. Bhakti Vedanta means, Bhakti means devotion, Veda means knowledge, Anta means the purpose of knowledge. So he was given this title, Swami Bhakti Vedanta, which basically means someone who believes devotion is the ultimate use of knowledge, is the ultimate purpose of knowledge. Ultimate purpose of knowledge is devotion. So such a person is given a title of Bhakti Vedanta, and that's what Prabhupada really stood for. And he, while doing all this, he was wondering, his Guruji actually told him that he needs to really spread the message of Krishna consciousness to the entire world. And here he was. Absolutely, he was getting older. He had given up his business. The business, didn't do well, and he had to shut the shop. And she was wondering, what does all this mean? There is a higher purpose, a higher call that is waiting for me. And what he did was in 1965, of course, he had no money. Trust me, he had no money. What did he have? He just had $7. And he had the Bhagavad Gita. He had written the Bhagavad Gita, this copy that you see, in all the shelves, the bookshelves these days. And he had written 3 three cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So with three cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, as it is, the copy that we all are proud to possess today and are fortunate to have today, with these four books, and he took multiple copies of these books. And there was a kind lady, a philanthropist who kind of funded, for his trip to the US. And he set out on a cargo ship. And this cargo ship didn't have anybody else. It just had the captain of that ship, his wife, and Srila Prabhupada. And he had to sit in a little dingy little cabin because it was a cargo ship. It wasn't a passenger. It was not a passenger ship. It was a cargo ship. He set off sail from Kolkata and landed in the USA. It took 37 days. And at the time, he also carried a few dry cereals, it seems. And then he had a lot of, this seasickness, nausea, and vomiting, and all kinds of, things that sea brings in. He was not used to it. He was a very ordinary man. He had never probably stepped into ship and had this kind of journey. And it was 37 long days, and he was quite old. He was 67 or 68 years old at that time. And he also suffered 2 major heart attacks, and he survived it. And that survival, he says, was predominantly owing to the larger purpose that Krishna had for him. Yeah. And in 1965, after landing there, he went through a lot of problems with $7. Just imagine $7, even if you put it at a value of 50 rupees. Of course, today it's $80, maybe back then it must have been 40 or maybe 30, I don't know. It hardly is any money. That's all he had. And in 1966, what a miracle. He registered ISKCON. Okay. And in 1967, in San Francisco, which is a Silicon Valley today, he conducted the first Ratha Yatra. That was a miracle. That was the mysticism of Srila Prabhupada. And that was the support that he had from Lord Krishna, to kind of engage as the messenger of the Lord's words. As part of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. So now this is the Ratha Yatra, 1967, conducted. He conducted this in San Francisco, as I said. Look at the jubilation, just 1 year. And in less than 5 years, he had over 10,000 disciples. And all of them were people, Westerners. And this was the time that America much wanted to look beyond just life and living. And people were, there was a lot of hippie culture that was there. And when they saw Prabhupada, they loved the poise that he had, the kind of bliss that was there in him, the kind words he had for everyone, the kind of, enthusiasm he kind of showed people that will help them to liberate, from the normal material existence, normal penury that they were all in. Okay. And so that is, how did this all happen? Did it all happen overnight? No. Little Abhay Charan, Prabhupada, that we fondly know him now, he was Abhay Charan as a little boy, named by his parents. There he is conducting the Ratha Yatra. Can you see him? Can you see that? The little boy pulling the chariot with a rope. That's little Abhay Charan. So anyone who is spiritual, the grains of spirituality will be there in them right from a younger days. It's not that it suddenly comes. It also comes by way of family influences. The family supported Prabhupada so much. They saw that his inclination to spirituality was strong. They saw that his interest towards learning and as well as, gaining knowledge was so high in them. The family supported him all through, right into his boyhood and into his adulthood. Everyone did as much as they can to kind of help him to advance in spirituality. So this picture that you see here below, where he's kind of holding that little paper, is how he started. He went to the printing press and the Back to Godhead magazine. So became fructified. And that was his Guruji, who kind of encouraged him to kind of take up the path of spirituality and also spread the message of Krishna consciousness across the world. Yeah. And that's the Jaladuta, which took Prabhupada from the shores of Kolkata to USA. And then there you can see all kinds of people, age group, every age group was present, along with Prabhupada. He influenced everyone from the youngest to the oldest. And these pictures are that of George Harrison, of the Beatles group, right? So that was the power that Prabhupada had, and also the messaging, the way he was conveying the rich knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, kind of completely enticed people. And imagine if Westerners took to Bhagavad Gita so well, and we as don't we deserve to at least read his books right now? And that's hope. Hopefully, I hope that you will stay on, and you will make all efforts to understand this, or at least gain some knowledge, so that you can advance in your journey of understanding the Bhagavad Gita, and as I said, to putting it to use in your daily life throughout your lifetime. That's a guarantee that we give you. Now, this is what, this was Prabhupada was having a diary, maintaining a diary. He used to keep writing something every day in the Jaladuta. So this was something that one of his disciples took out from his diary 12 years after, much later, after Prabhupada became very well known. So here I believe Prabhupada had written in the book, "My dear Lord Krishna, how will I make them understand?" Because he was going to an unknown land, right? He said, "How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I'm very unfortunate." He calls himself unfortunate because he doesn't know what is there, what is going to be there for him. He says, "I'm unfortunate because there's nobody there to guide me. I'm all alone. I'm unqualified. I don't know how qualified I am to kind of spread your message. And I'm most fallen." He calls himself fallen because in the human body, all of us are fallen. All of us are so conditioned. He said, "I don't know how I'm going to really come out of all of these things. Therefore, I'm seeking your benediction. I'm seeking your guidance so that I can convince them, so that I can help, pull people out of this misery of the worldly life. For I am powerless to do so on my own." Remember, on our own, we cannot do anything. We need the benediction of the Supreme Lord on us. We need the blessings of our superiors. We need the blessings of our teachers. We need the blessings of our gurus. And above all, the Paramatma, the Supreme Brahman, has to support us. And he says, "I'm sure that when this transcendental message penetrates the hearts, they will certainly feel enlightened." Prabhupada was 100% determined that this message, when it goes, when people receive it, it's going to definitely uplift them and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. So that's Prabhupada. In a very short while, he had 10,000 disciples with him. And this is the kind of books, this is the library that we have, in this link called vedabase.io. And you can look up all these books. All these books are available in the digital format. And if any of you want to purchase them, we can help you purchasing them as well. And Back to Godhead magazine is available on that link. I'll post both these links for you in the chat today. So you can look it up if it interests you. Please, at least Back to Godhead is something you must read to start with. And at least, try and be with me for the 18 days and, go through this, the Bhagavad Gita overview. And afterwards, I'm sure you're going to engage yourself in reading it yourself. And as well as we are also there to support you on your onward journey, as I said. Hare Krishna. So any questions at this point in time? I'm going to stop for a minute. Is there any questions? Does anyone have any questions, please? Anyone has any questions? Hare Krishna. Anybody, any questions? Is it okay? I think Radhika Mataji is trying to reach out to me. I can't see you, Radhika Mataji. Hare Krishna, admin. I can't see her. Okay, any questions, anybody? Okay, it's okay, he says. Okay, I'm going ahead again. Okay, so this slide is going to show you how the ISKCON movement spread from 1965 up until 1977 when Srila Prabhupada disappeared from this material world. Okay, he was 81 when he left this world, this material world. Okay.
Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya
Okay. Hare Krishna. So that was the, the travel itinerary that we showed you of Srila Prabhupada. But more than that, he established 108 temples in the short period of 12 years he had from the age of 68 to 81. 108 temples across the world. And today we have over 800 temples across the world. So that is how the movement has really picked up. And I'm sure with youngsters like you joining us, we will only grow from strength to strength. We need more and more people really understand these scriptures, the knowledge, as I said, contained here, comprehend it well, and live an extraordinary life, because that's what we deserve. Okay, and this is the deity of Radha Krishna, which is what you will find in every ISKCON temple. There will not be any difference in the way Radha Krishna, they look like Radha Rani and Krishna. They're dressed every day in beautiful attires, and all these attires are handmade by people, by devotees. And all these ornaments are not, gold and diamonds and things like that. They're ordinary, beads and semi-precious stones that are used in all these ornamentation. So this is absolutely, when you go to any of our temples, you'll find it so blissful that you'll never want to really, come out of it. It's so engaging, so blissful, so joyful. It'll help you to kind of, achieve all your dreams. Your determination, will get strengthened, when you kind of associate yourself with the knowledge and the power that is there in our scriptures. Okay, so it's called Mangalore, from where we are bringing you this program. This is the address. We are located in Mangalore. This is Sri Sri Radha Govinda Temple, Coconut Garden Road, Tollgate, Kadri, Mangalore, Karnataka, 57502. Whenever you're coming to Mangalore, please ping us. We'll help you to come and visit our temple. And our temple president, who's also my Shiksha Guru, is Nama Nishtadas Prabhuji. He's a BTech mechanical engineer from IIT Kanpur. At the age of 22, he took up his first job with Infosys, and in 6 months' time, he decided that was not what he really wanted to do, because he had read the Bhagavad Gita many times, during his college days, and was so intrigued and so engaged, and so he was completely so much connected with the Bhagavad Gita, that he said his mission in life was not to take up normal things like normal people do, but to kind of rise above the mundane. And he joined the ISKCON. He became brahmachari. Okay, so that is our website. ISKCONmangaluru.com is our website. And you can visit, you can see all the videos of Nama Nishtadas Prabhuji on his YouTube, and that's the link, and I will give you that link as well. Hare Krishna. Okay, so what is the Bhagavad Gita? What can someone tell me, what do you want to understand by the Bhagavad Gita? What does Bhagavad Gita mean? What is the meaning of Bhagavad Gita? I'm sure many of you will have your copies of Bhagavad Gita at home, or at least
Song of God.
Song of God. Excellent. Thank you so much. That's excellent. Thank you so much. Anyone else? What else? Is there anything else to Bhagavad Gita that you know? The song of life, it's a way of life. Gita is the way to liberation. Excellent. Wow. Message of God. Absolutely. Song of God. Absolutely. Great. I'm so impressed with all of you. You're wonderful. Okay. Now let me share my screen again. I will stop once in a while like this, so that we can interact. And I think only through interaction, we'll make this, the learning very enriching. Okay. So the Bhagavad Gita is an epic scripture that has the answers to all our problems. You name the problem. I want you all to list. Can you all, each of you, put some of the problems that we typically face in our life in the chat box? Hare Krishna. Can everyone?
Overthinking.
Yeah, put the kind of problems we face in our life in the chat box. Yeah, I'll pick up all the problems that you're talking in just a minute. Okay. So Bhagavad Gita is an epic scripture. Keep writing, keep writing. Bhagavad Gita is an epic scripture that has answers to all our problems. It was considered a spiritual dictionary. It's an encyclopedia by Mahatma Gandhi. And it's a book of inspiration for many leaders across the planet. Not only then, but even now. So now let's see what are the testimonials that some people that we know, have said about the Bhagavad Gita. I hope all of you can recognize the pictures that I have on this slide. The first one is our Mahatma Gandhi. He said, those who meditate on the Gita will derive fresh joy and new meanings from it every day. Trust me, I vouch for it, because every time you read the Bhagavad Gita, you get a different perspective and insight. That is a guarantee. So please make an attempt to at least get to know the overview that we are doing for you in 18 days. And then you will never, ever give up the company of the Bhagavad Gita. The next person is Albert Einstein. He said, when I read the Bhagavad Gita and reflect about how God created the universe, everything else seems so superfluous. He was such a, he was one of the stalwarts of science, right? E is equal to mc squared. He was a stalwart. He was a Nobel laureate. And he had a lot of people who envied him. He was so knowledgeable. And he said, finally, this was after he made the bomb, probably, he realized that everything in the world is useless after reading the Bhagavad Gita. Because the Bhagavad Gita not only gives us the knowledge of how to live, but it also tells us how this universe was created. Whatever people are seeing through the telescopes of the NASA and everything else, you will understand there's absolutely nothing compared to the universe that the Lord has actually created. It's metaverse, it's much beyond what we know. The Bhagavad Gita, that's Aurobindo, Sri Aurobindo, he said the Bhagavad Gita is a true scripture of the human race. A living creation rather than a book. It's not a book. It's a companion. It's your best buddy. It's your companion. With a new message for every age. It fits. It's eternal. It's eternal, and it has a new meaning for every civilization. Because it's eternal. It's God. It kind of relates to everybody. It relates to every age. And finally, I have one testimonial for you of Swami Vivekananda. This is a beautiful one. He said the Gita is like a bouquet of flowers. You know what a bouquet is? Bouquets of flowers. It's composed of the beautiful flowers of spiritual truths. Okay, collected from all the Upanishads. What are the Upanishads? Upanishads give us, the guide all about spirituality, bhakti, and devotion. The word Upanishad means one that needs to be studied under the guidance of a teacher. Upanishad means under the guidance. Upa and Shad means under the guidance of a teacher. This was a Gurukul system that they had. Even now, all these scriptures have to be studied in the association of learned people. So we have Namanishta Das Prabhuji, who's really a very, very accomplished and a learned person. And we are all looking up to him. And we have all come this far. I've been associated with him for the last 2.5 years. And this journey wouldn't have been possible if it hadn't been for him and his guidance. And I hope many of you will take his guidance as well and, try and get the best of the Bhagavad Gita that is there for us. It belongs to us. It's come from our country. It belongs to us. Yeah. So there's no reason why we should not own this Bhagavad Gita, and why we should not really look to living the life that Bhagavad Gita, helps us to lead, right? So for heaven's sake, all of you are young people, and I'm hopeful that you will not give up this urge, the urge with which you have come here. Don't ever give it up, because you are here not by accident. You're here because there's a purpose. There's a larger meaning that is there, that has brought you here, right? So why is it that, why ISKCON Bhagavad Gita as it is? It's because, when you use a phone, you use a particular charger that comes with the phone. You can't use a wrong charger. I can't use my iPhone charger with a Samsung phone or with any other phone. What it'll do? It'll not, first of all, it'll not charge. It'll not add value. And secondly, it may also damage the phone. If I forcibly kind of, do something, it may damage my phone, right? So similarly, the message of Krishna must come via an unbroken chain of disciplic succession. It has to come through the proper channel. Only when something comes through the proper channel will it be authentic, will it be reliable. So this is a reliable source of information of Sri Krishna that we have through the Bhagavad Gita as it is, that has been given to us by Srila Prabhupada. So why do we say this? Because the lack of contact between the source and the receiver needs to be perfect. If the lack of contact between the source and the receiver is imperfect, the knowledge transmission or the utility of that knowledge will be not. Not means zero, right? So the Gita is a vast book, okay? A systematic study of the Gita will take us about a year. It has around 700 verses. And in 18 days, we can't cover all those verses. But our focus is towards helping you to understand the flow of knowledge that happened between Krishna and Arjuna, and also to help to prepare you for a deeper study of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay? That is a guarantee that I'm giving you today. Now, what is the genesis of Bhagavad Gita? What is the background of the Bhagavad Gita? What is it that led to the Bhagavad Gita to be spoken by the Lord? It was predominantly Arjuna's bewilderment. The two armies had stationed themselves. Can you tell me which? Okay, I'm going to stop here. Let me see what are the problems you all have mentioned. Let me just do that. Let me give a read before I get into. So what are you seeing? Lovely, beautiful. I wish I can. Health issues, anger, greed, bang on. Job problem, overthinking, health problems. Yes, tell me again. Mental pressure, poverty, lust. Yeah, poverty was another thing that kind of really, something that affected Prabhupada a lot. And that's why you will find us having Akshaya Patra that runs in all these cons. Prabhupada said, in a radius, I think of a few kilometers, I forget how many kilometers, in radius of a certain kilometer, he said, I do not want anyone to go hungry. Yeah, and ISKCON still today maintains it. And how do we face failure? Daydreaming. Yes, we all dream a lot. You can daydream, but make it happen. And that's what the Bhagavad Gita will help you do it. Fake persons. Yes, Bhagavad Gita also asks you, warns you of fake people and why fake people exist. Expectations. Yes, we set a lot of our wrong expectations. Yeah, if you set the right expectation, nothing will go wrong. Look at PV Sindhu. She won a medal today. That didn't happen just like that. It was a strong determination, willpower, right? Decision making. Yes, we make wrong decisions. And why do we make it? Bhagavad Gita will give you the answers. Depression during higher study, headache for family, depression. Why depression? There should be no depression. We will see. We will discuss these as we move along. Overthinking mental. Why do you have to overthink? Just think what is needed. That's good enough. Especially when you are the only child, your father getting old. Yeah, I know, but don't worry. Bhagavad Gita will help you to handle all your problems. Overthinking. Overthinking. A lot of you are talking about poor concentration. Yeah, we'll also tell you why poor concentration happens. So I will probably take attention deficit. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, that's a real thing. Yeah, misunderstanding. Yeah. Can someone help me? Is any of Krishna Kumar ji, Hare Krishna, are you there? Krishna Kumar Prabhu. Krishna Kumar Prabhu, are you there? Okay, I don't see them. I hope I can take most of these points, because we'll cover them as we cover every chapter. Okay, so I'll get back to my presentation. Thank you so much. They're all valid points, and I'm sure you're going to find answers to all of them. Yeah. So Arjuna's bewilderment and appearance of illusion must be understood to be Krishna's arrangement. Now, what happened? They had assembled in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and this was a fratricidal war between cousins of the same family, and all of this was because one side or one part of the family did not want to share anything with the family, did not want to share anything of the family heirloom with their set of cousins, which were the Pandavas. The Kauravas completely refused to share anything with the Pandavas. And this was the Mahabharata. Mahabharata means war of wars. This, please understand, this was just not limited to Bharatavarsha. The Bharatavarsha that we are talking of today is not the India that it is. Bharat, the entire universe was what was being ruled by our people, by our ancestors in the former yugas. Now, after getting onto the battlefield, Arjuna, saw both sides of the army, and he requested Lord Krishna. He said, "Can you please take the chariot?" Now, Lord Krishna was the charioteer of Arjuna, and this also happened because both Arjuna and Duryodhana went to Sri Krishna to ask for his support. And it was Duryodhana who first entered. Then he said, and Sri Krishna was resting. And Duryodhana said, "Why should I sit at the feet of Lord Krishna? Who is he?" So he went and sat at the headrest side. And Arjuna, he kind of touched the feet of the Lord and sat at the footrest. And they were waiting for Sri Krishna to wake up. And sensing some movements, the Lord opened his eyes, and he immediately saw Arjuna and says, "Hey, Arjuna." Then immediately Duryodhana gets angry. "How dare! I am the first one who came in, and I'm sitting at your head, near your head side. How come you're not asking me? You're asking Arjuna first." So immediately Krishna looked at him. He said, "Okay, no, I saw him. I opened my eyes. I saw him first." So then he tells Arjuna says, "No, you please, entertain Duryodhana first. You can answer my question later." So Krishna says, "Okay, what have you come for?" He says, "I've come for your support." So Krishna says, "What support do you all want?" So he says, "I can offer you two things, either myself on one side or my army on the other side." So Duryodhana thought to himself, "What rubbish. Why do I need this man, this cowherd boy? I don't need this man. It's better for me to have his Krishna Sena." He says, "Okay, no, give me your army. I don't need you." Then Arjuna said, "Hey Partha, hey Krishna, hey Karuna Sindhu, I only want you. I don't want anything else. You just be my side. You will be my strength. I just need you and your strength. I don't need anything else. I don't need anybody in this world other than you." So therefore, Lord Krishna became the charioteer of Arjuna, and Lord Krishna's army joined the side of Duryodhana or the Kauravas. Okay. Now, after reaching there, Arjuna says, "I want to go nearer take me to the center of the battlefield. I want to see who are the people who have come here to fight with us." Okay. So in that state, when he saw all the people, he saw all the known people standing in front of him, and he became completely, weak. He said, "These are the people who I've always known. These are my family. These are my friends. There are my nephews. There are my grandsons. He said, are these the people that I want to fight with? Hey, Krishna, is it right for us to really fight with these people? And he says, and then the Lord, completely, takes him as his disciple, and the Bhagavad Gita gets spoken in the middle of the battlefield. So you may ask, how is it possible that Bhagavad Gita was spoken right in the middle of the field? It said, scriptures say that it took 45 minutes. Okay, so therefore we need to be extremely thankful to Arjuna, because had it not been for his confusion and for his dilemma and his own conundrum, there would have been no necessity for Krishna to speak the Bhagavad Gita. And the Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the Lord to Arjuna to not only rescue him, but it is also a great message that's packed in these 700 verses, which is apparently spoken to Arjuna for the first time in the Treta Yuga, the Dwapara Yuga, and he was the first listener. But actually, it is for the benefit of everyone, for all of us who are here now in the Kali Yuga. So Arjuna's indecisiveness is the reason for Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna drove the chariot in the midst of both the armies because Arjuna wanted him to do so, and he, as a charioteer, completely, accepted the request. And he says it was Arjuna's difficulty in fighting the battle, and he surrendered to Krishna. So please remember, it is very important. Gita can only be understood only if you have faith. Gita can only be understood when you are humble. Gita can only be understood when you really have that urge to kind of listen. If listening is not a part of our system, one cannot understand these scriptures at all, because listening is very, very important, because listening will make you contemplate, listening will make you think. So therefore, Arjuna, you will find Arjuna as a great listener, and so also the Lord. The Lord is going to listen patiently to everything that Arjuna is going to say. And very patiently, he takes up every question of Arjuna and answers them very systematically. And therefore, it was Arjuna's difficulty in having to fight the battle of Kurukshetra, and he surrendered to Shri Krishna. Consequently, this Bhagavad Gita got spoken. So Hare Krishna, we are really thankful to Arjuna for what he did, and we are also equally thankful to Srila Prabhupada for having given us this wonderful book of Bhagavad Gita as it is, because it's so simple that anyone who picks up a copy will never find it difficult to kind of read through it, and as well as, understand the nectar of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so every journey begins with a single step, and you have made that single step today. Let's begin this journey into the mysticism. Gita is mysticism because it gives you great insights. So welcome once again. Hare Krishna. So this is a little thing about the Upanishad. Sarva Upanishado Gavo Dogda Gopal Anandanaha Partho Vatsah Sudhir Bhokta Duktam Gitamritam Mahat, means all the Upanishads are like a cow, and the milker of the cow is Lord Krishna, the son of Nanda. Arjuna is the calf. The beautiful nectar of the Gita is the milk, and the fortunate devotees of fine theistic intellect are the drinkers and enjoyers of that milk. Isn't that beautiful? So Arjuna, this first chapter is called the Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Yoga comes from the root word yug. Yug means union, association with the Lord. So Arjuna's dilemma or Arjuna's lamentation leads to that beautiful association that we are going to have with the Lord in the form of this Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so let's see what it is. There are three distinct characters that we are going to see in this chapter. One is Dhritarashtra, the second is Duryodhana, and the third is Arjuna. So the opening verse of chapter 1 is by Dhritarashtra, and then subsequently 11 verses are spoken by Duryodhana, and then Sanjaya speaks a few verses, and then rest of it is by Arjuna. Okay, so let's see the reaction. So the Dhritarashtra, and this is Arjuna, he's in tears. So we will kind of cover all of them in the next few slides. So Dhritarashtra, this is the only verse of Dhritarashtra in the 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Dhritarashtra uvacha dharmakshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamakaha pandavaschaiva kimmakurvata Sanjaya. Now who is Sanjaya? Sanjaya is the son of his charioteer. But whose charioteer? Dhritarashtra's charioteer. And he's also a great devotee of sage Vedavyasa, and he's also a disciple of sage Vedavyasa. And Vedavyasa is the incarnation of Mahavishnu. So you can read a lot about it, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, you should get to the Bhagavatam only after you've understood the Bhagavad Gita well. Only then will you be able to really enjoy the flow of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, Sanjaya had a special benediction or a special power that was given by Vedavyas ji. He could see what was happening, anywhere. He had the GPS in his eyes. So it was through him that Dhritarashtra gets to know what is happening on the battlefield. And it's through him, we are so fortunate that there was Sanjaya, because it was because of Sanjaya we get to know the discourse or the conversation or the transaction that happened between Lord Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield. Now, what did Dhritarashtra say? Here's the English translation. Dhritarashtra said, "O Sanjaya, after my sons, Mamakaha, my sons, and the sons of Pandu, Pandavaschaiva, assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do?" I mean, this was such a funny question. He knew very well that this fight was at his direction. He was the director of this Mahabharata. He could have stopped it if he wanted, but he didn't. He didn't take any effort. He knew what kind of progeny he had. He knew how evil his sons were. Despite that, he made no efforts. And if you read the Mahabharata, you will also know the Mahabharata, epic Mahabharata. He believed, even before his children and all were born, he knew that who Lord Krishna was. But despite that, he made no efforts to understand who the Lord was. He made no efforts to kind of even get closer to what the Lord wanted him to do. What did the Lord say? Give them 5 villages. He said, give the Pandavas 5 villages. That's all. Don't give them any part of your kingdom, but just give them 5 villages. Dhritarashtra he just said, no. He was so affectionate towards his son Duryodhana that he was completely, covered by illusion. He just didn't want to heed to the words of Lord Krishna at all. And what did Dhritarashtra? Dhritarashtra itself has a great meaning. Dhrita means determination. Rashtra means kingdom. And his determination was all for the kingdom. His attachment was all for the kingdom and for his own children. Okay? And here, he's asking, what did they do? Did they go to play any football match or something? No, he knew it very well. It was just like being very sarcastic. But even in the sarcasm, there was also a lot of fear that was there in his heart. We'll see that as we move on. So here is a wonderful slide Prabhuji and Amanishta Das, gave us. He says, look, Dharmakshetra, it is called the Dharmakshetra. Why is it the Dharmakshetra? It's a Dharmakshetra because it is a war against the evil versus the good. So therefore, Dharmakshetra. It was a war to make goodness shine in this universe. And it was also something where the Lord himself was present. So obviously it is Dharmakshetra. There's no doubt about it. And Dhritarashtra knew this very well. And he knew how evil he was and how evil his children were. And what did he do? He curdled the milk. The milk overboiling is a good sign. In many communities in India, whenever they're doing any auspicious function, there is milk boiling that happens and they allow the milk to boil over. So nice. But what did he do? Dhritarashtra curdles the milk. And what happens when you curdle the milk? You get the paneer, the cottage cheese, and you get the whey. So the cottage cheese is his sons, and the whey, the water, are the Pandavas. And he wanted to make a rasgulla and wanted to have the rasgulla all for himself because that was his intention. He had a very selfish reason for this war. Now, there's the other character, the second character, which is Duryodhana. What does Duryodhana do? He runs to his guru, Dronacharya. What does he say? Oh, my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. Now, Drupada, the son of Drupada is Drishtadyumna. Now, Drupada and Dronacharya were people who were in the Gurukula, who were studying together. At that time, Drupada, he was the son of a king. He said, look, when I become the king, I will share the kingdom, half of my kingdom with you. And finally, when Dronacharya, because of his poverty, he wanted some milk for his child, and he had no money to buy milk. So he goes to his good friend Drupada, and Drupada insults him. He said, I don't even know you. How can you be? Okay, fine. I must have said something to you in the Gurukula. Now it doesn't hold water. I'm sorry. I don't care for you. Just get out, he said. And because of that, insult, to avenge it, he approached Bhishma. See, today's class will take a little time, so please bear with me because we're just setting the context for you. So I will take maybe 10 minutes over 8 o'clock. So please bear with me till then. So, he goes to Bhishma and he asks for some work. So Bhishma appoints him as the teacher of the Kaurava princess and the Pandava princess. And that's how Dronacharya becomes the teacher of the Kuru dynasty. And before him, there was also Kripacharya. So Kripacharya and Dronacharya are the two teachers of the Pandavas and the Kauravas. So now he points out to the intelligent disciple. He says, look, Drishtadyumna was the son of Drupada. Now what happened? Dronacharya, after he kind of, taught all the martial arts to Pandavas and the Kauravas, he wanted them to wage a war against the king of, against King Drupada. So they waged a war, and Arjuna brought Drupada tied up to Drona. And Drona, says, I had to do this because I had to avenge the insult that you kind of poured on me. And now I'm going to take half my kingdom as per the promise, and I will release you, and you go and, rule the other half. So Drupada was so, cut up and was completely, in anger. He did a lot of penance, and he got the children, Drishtadyumna, Draupadi, and Drishtadyumna, when Drishtadyumna was growing, Drupada sent him back to Dronacharya because there was no teacher as good as Drupada. I'm sorry, as good as Dronacharya. So Drupada, sent his son Drishtadyumna to to Drona, and said, you have to teach him. And like any good Brahmana, any good teacher will never ever turn away anybody who comes to them for studies. So he taught him all the things that he had to teach as a Kshatriya that he needed to know was taught. And Drishtadyumna now is fighting the war from the side of the Pandavas. Someone is bringing noise. Can you excuse me? Can you put yourself on mute, please, everyone? Yeah. So Drishtadyumna was on the side of Pandavas, and he had arranged the army formation of Pandavas. So he's kind of pointing out to him, look at the folly, look at your folly. Your own student is now on the other side, on the enemy side, and he's ready to fight with you. So he's kind of make sure that Dronacharya, he had a great fondness for the Pandavas and particularly for Arjuna, because a lot of wars that were fought for Dronacharya were won by Arjuna. So he wants to make sure that Dronacharya is not going to change his heart and stop fighting. So he therefore does two things. A very, very, very clever fellow. He says there is Drishtadyumna who's on the other side. So you better don't change your mind because you see your student Arjuna standing there. A very clever fellow. He's a very highly a diplomat. So let's see what happens. And look at the way he's looking at him. No respect. He had no respect for elders. This is what happens. Any evil person, anyone who is not, well-mannered, you will find these characteristics or traits in them. Look at the way he's kind of, his body language. You can make out from the body language, their eyeball movements, the way they speak, the language they use. And that's exactly what Duryodhana was doing here. Okay. So then he says, and he kind of, he knows what he's doing and he wants to kind of appease his guru. He says, there are great personalities like you. He's trying to kind of prep him up a bit. He says, there are great personalities like you. Bhishma. He says, Bhishma, there's Karna, there's Kripacharya, there's Ashwatthama. And he uses the word Vikarna. I've marked it in black there. And the son of Somadatta, called Burishrava. That's of inconsequence. The name of Somadatta is inconsequential. I don't know what that name, why he brought that name. Who are always victorious in battle. He says, look, there are great people like me, like you. There's Bhishma, there's Kripa, there's Ashwatthama, and there's Vikarna. He takes the name of Vikarna because Vikarna was the only one who opposed Duryodhana and Dushasan when they dragged when Dushasan dragged Draupadi into the courtroom, during the game of dice, when Dhritarashtra lost Draupadi and everything that he had to in the game of dice, right? So Vikarna had opposed him. So he kind of, he takes all these names because, he wants to make sure that none of them change their heart. And he also takes names like Somadatta, called Burishrava, because he wants to make sure that others are not hurt because he doesn't take their name. And then he also says another thing. He says, all of you must now give full support to grandfather Bhishma. Because, why does he say that? As you stand at your respective strategic points of the entrance into the phalanx of the army. Because Shikhandi, who is one of the brothers of Draupadi, he's a transgender. Bhishma had taken a vow that he'll only fight with the masculine gender and nobody else. So he wants to make sure Duryodhana is kind of, giving an instruction to everybody. He's saying, look, Bhishma is old, so please take care of him, because if Shikhandi comes in front of him, then they lose the war. Because if Bhishma is gone, then the Kauravas have really very less power in their hands. Bhishma was really the stronghold of the Kaurava army. Then what did Bhishma do? He says, then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana the joy. Like a parent, when the child comes crying to you, what do? You pacify them. So this was basically a pacification. Bhishma loved the Pandavas. Bhishma loved Arjuna. And Bhishma knew who Lord Krishna was. He was absolutely in a very, very sticky situation. It was all because of the vow of celibacy that he had taken, and also the vow that he had given Satyavati and Shantanu, that he will be by the side of Dhritarashtra, that he had to take this kind of a position. So he kind of, just to pacify and just to kind of, give him that confidence, that affirmation to Duryodhana, he blows his conch. Okay, just to give him that little bit of an assurance. Don't worry, I'm there with you. I'll fight this battle for you. Yeah. Now what happens when they blow the conches? See, a conch, when they blow the conches is an indication of the army saying that we are ready to fight. And in those days, they were very disciplined. Yeah, they will fight only after sunrise, and the fight will stop at sunset. It's not like today, fighting anytime during the day and night and things like that. So as soon as that one side blew the conch, Lord Krishna blows his conch. What does it say here? Verse 1.19, Saghosho Dhartrashtrana Hridayani Vayadarayat Nabascha Prithvim Chaiva Tumulo Abhayanun Nadaya. It means the blowing of these different conches became uproarious, and thus vibrating in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. When the Kaurava army blew their conches, trumpets and drums and everything else, it was just a normal thing. But here, Vedavyasji says, when Lord Krishna blew his conch shell, the Panchajanya, it really kind of, brought in a lot of fear in the minds and hearts of the Kauravas. Not only in the hearts of Kauravas, but also in the heart of Dhritarashtra. He was extremely nervous. What is going to happen now? Okay, it shattered the sons of Dhritarashtra, because that's the power of truth. That's the power of the Lord. That's the power of, devotion. That's the power of spirituality. Yeah, when you are spiritual, when you are on the side of goodness, when you're always truthful, take it that you will always put the enemy in check. It's a checkmate. Truthfulness and spirituality and devotion is really puts anybody in check. Okay, so that's what happened. Now, in 21 to 22 and 23, Arjuna tells now, oh infallible one, oh Achyuta, he calls him Achyuta, infallible one who can never be, one who's above the normal. Oh Achyuta, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. And then he says, I also want to see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra, the Durbuddhi. Durbuddher, he says, Durbuddher, son of Dhritarashtra. That is Duryodhana. The evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra is Duryodhana. He calls him evil-minded because he has been an aggressor. The Vedic scriptures say there are 6 definitions of an aggressor. Now, what are they? One who gives poison to anyone is an aggressor. One who sets a house on fire is an aggressor. One who attacks somebody with a deadly weapon is an aggressor. One who plunders riches is an aggressor. One who occupies another's land, one who takes away another's land is an aggressor. One who kidnaps somebody's wife is an aggressor. Now, Duryodhana or the Kauravas did all of this. That's why Arjuna calls him the evil-minded son of Duryodhana, of Dhritarashtra. Okay. Now, what are the reasons? After seeing that, what reasons does Arjuna give? He said, look, these are all my people. He's kind of, overwhelmed. He's completely overcome with compassion. He said, I can't fight these people. Then he says, look, if I fight, I know I'm going to win. And if I win, what joy will I get? Because they'll all be dead and gone. My cousins will be dead and gone. Everybody will be gone. What kingdom am I going to have without these people with whom I've always been with? Then he says, it's a sin. Isn't war a sin? So why should we fight? We shouldn't fight. Oh Achyuta, oh Krishna. Then he says, family traditions. If all these people are going to die, elders are going to become abandoned. The wives and the women in the society are going to become orphaned. Children are going to become orphaned. There's going to be complete abandonment and orphanages that will happen in the society. And it's not right. He said, we can't do this. I don't want to fight. And then he also has another reason for family. He said, who will teach people all the rules and rituals and all kind of traditions? Nothing, everything will be lost. We need the elders. We need the people to kind of guide the children. If the elders of the family are not going to be there, who will guide the young people? He was right. Yeah, he was feeling compassion is quite natural. No enjoyment. Obviously, if you kind of fight with your own family, there's going to be no enjoyment. It's a sin. And obviously, if you're going to fight with it, everything will break away. The family structure will break off. And then finally, he also says, I can't fight because I'm completely undecided. I can't fight. And this comes in chapter 2.6. We'll see that tomorrow. Now, I'm sure this is something that we can all relate to. And a war situation particularly is something which actually makes us think of all these things. I'm sure the Russia and the Ukraine war is kind of bringing all these things into our hearts. Compassion. We feel extremely bad for all the people who are getting affected by this war. And we also feel that who's going to gain out of all this by killing everybody, by kind of routing a country. What are we going to gain? And then obviously you can well see families are getting broken away. So war is definitely not a great solution. So I'm sure all of you will perfectly understand the situation that Arjuna is in. Now, there are several signs that the Pandavas are going to win. What are these? This war is happening on the Dharmakshetra. It's a Dharmakshetra because the Lord God himself is present there. And this is a war of evil versus goodness. And goodness always has to win, right? The next one, the chariot on which Arjuna and Sri Krishna are there is a divine chariot. It was given by Agnidev. This chariot can not only, move around on the plain surface, but it can also fly in any direction that it wants. And then it has a Kapidwaja. The Kapidwaja is a flag post. And in the flag post, you have Sri Hanuman. Wherever Lord Sri Krishna is there, Hanuman is always his eternal servant. Hanuman is the eternal servant. And Hanuman had promised Bhima that, look, whenever the war happens, whenever you wage a war, I shall be by your side. And then the fourth was Shankhanada. that blowing of the conch by Lord Sri Krishna, completely shattered the hearts and minds of the evil-minded people, the Kauravas, right? And the next one is the Gandiva. Gandiva is the bow, and the quiver that Arjuna carries was given by Varun Dev, and it was an astra that was created by Brahma. So that astra had a specific power. The quiver will never get empty. It will always keep refilling. As and when he takes the arrows out, it keeps getting refilling. Can you go on mute, please? Somebody's bringing in voice. Hare Krishna. Can someone go on mute? Hare Krishna. Who's this? 1 second. I'm sorry. Manju Devi, you must go on mute, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay. I'm sorry for that. So Dharmakshetra was an indication that the Pandavas will win. The divine chariot was an indication that the Pandavas will win. The Kapidwaja, which had Hanuman, was an indication that Pandavas are going to win. Shankhanada, the blowing of the conch by Lord. The Gandiva, the Tyakta Jivita. When Duryodhana in one of the verses says, all these people who are standing with me have come to die for my sake. So Duryodhana and the Kauravas had more or less resigned to the fact that they are going to die. They knew the power of the Pandavas. Moksha Ekadeshi. So the Mahabharata was started on the day of Ekadeshi. Anything you do on Ekadeshi is auspicious. And Bhagyalakshmi, wherever Sri Krishna is there, there's Bhagyalakshmi. The Sri Aishwarya is always there with the Lord. Right? So it is said that Jayeshtru Panduputranam Yasham Pakshe Janardana. Wherever there is Janardana, there is going to be victory. And Janardana is there on the side of the Pandavas. Therefore, victory is on the side of the Pandavas. And who is the Lord? Lord is Rishikesha. He is the controller of everything. He is the creator, controller, and maintainer of all the universes. He is the controller of the metaverse. So when Rishikesha is on the side of Pandavas, victory is bound to be on the side of Pandavas. This is a foregone conclusion. So this is something that we must keep in our mind. So what are the key topics of the Bhagavad Gita? The Bhagavad Gita deals with 5 subjects. Just keep this in mind for now. We will discuss it as we move forward. It deals with the subject of Ishvara, that is Lord Krishna. The Jivatma. Jivatma is a living entity. All the living entities, animals, birds, and humans, and everyone. The Prakriti. Prakriti is the nature. Nature has the gross and the subtle. Kala. Kala is time. Everything is finite. Infinite. So everything that we do has a finite start and an end. There's a start and an end. Our life also has a start and an end. So Bhagavad Gita is going to kind of completely hammer this into our head, that we are all here with a certain time frame. Once the time frame gets over, our job is done and we are gone. Karma. Karma is activity. We will do all this as part of the chapters that follow. So this is a quick recap of today's session that we had. We talked about Dhritarashtra's inquiry with the first verse, Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre. Then we saw Duryodhana's fears when he runs to his acharya, Dronacharya, and then he does all kinds of acrobatics there. And then there's the blowing of conches on both sides. The blowing of the conches on the Kaurava side had no effect on the Pandavas, but the moment the Pandava side blew their conches, the Kauravas completely cringed. And then Arjuna's observation, the 5 reasons he gives: compassion, no enjoyment, sin, and breaking away of family tradition, and his indecision, which is something that we'll see in tomorrow's chapter. He said, I can't fight. Okay. So with this, today's chapter ends. Are there any questions for anybody? Hare Krishna.
Hello, ma'am.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, like the story and all is really nice one, but as this is the first time for me to listen to this Bhagavad Gita, I'm not aware of all the characters there, ma'am. If you could briefly describe about the characters which are there. I mean, like I was not aware of all the characters which are there, like how many. Sure. Just the basic thing. For the next class, if we can discuss about the characters and then the story, it would be easy for us to understand the thing. But rest of it is really keen and really insightful, ma'am.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any other question? Hare Krishna. Okay, before I get there, and probably I'll answer your question also, Mataji. If any of you want to buy these books, I'm sure the admins will post it in your group. You can do that. this is the set that you will get. We price it at a very nominal rate. If you want to buy, you can buy. Otherwise, we have, as I said, the digital formats are available. When you buy this book, you also get the Tulsi Mala and as well as the Japa Mala. If any of you are very keen in advancing in spirituality, you can make a small step. You can take a small step. You can definitely, try it. I'm sure you will not be disappointed. Okay, so this is available. So this is something which I just wanted to share with you. I'll also share the other links with you, or otherwise I'll share it with the admins. I'll ask them to share it. So if no one has any questions, I will probably answer Mataji's question that she just asked. 1 minute. I'll get into my own screen. So yes, any other question, please? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I had one question. Today is the starting of the Bhagavad Gita. Like we saw the first session got ended by first chapter. So in the upcoming sessions, there will be more number of chapters, and mostly the difficulty level starts increasing. Like there will be a lot of new words, something. So how will be the approach of as a beginner, and as beginner, how should be the approach? Because there will be some words or which is a little bit difficult to understand. How to proceed with those words?
Yeah. So see, we are going to be completely doing it in English, and while we will some verses I will read the Sanskrit verses, but otherwise you will have the English translation, and we'll make it very easy for you. For instance, today, if you saw, we only covered maybe I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, around 7 verses. This particular chapter had 47 verses, whereas what we covered for you today is only 8 verses. We kind of, filled in the things between the verses. So we just gave you a synopsis of the first chapter. So the first chapter was the battleground of Kurukshetra, and this is a war, of dharma versus the adharma, and there were 4 principal characters, and that's what you will see in the whole of Bhagavad Gita. You will not read about Duryodhana anymore. The Duryodhana's part is over. You will not read about Dhritarashtra anymore. That part is also over. It will only be Sanjaya, Arjuna, and Lord Krishna. Okay? Is that okay? So the next verses is only Sanjaya will now and then, address what is happening on the field. He'll also fill in for us in between what Lord Krishna and Arjuna says. It's only filling in will be happening by Sanjaya. But otherwise, 547 verses are spoken by the Lord. And around 74 verses or something is spoken by Arjuna. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
84.
84, huh? I don't know. I'll check that. I thought 547.
41 by Sanjaya and 1 by Dhritarashtra.
Yeah, 41 by Sanjaya, 84 by, correct. Thank you. 84 by Arjuna, 41 by Sanjaya, and Krishna has 574. Okay? So, any other question? Hare Krishna. Okay. Who is this? There are some questions posted here. I hope you're there. Chandani Mataji, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, Somnath Dattaji says, Mataji, I want to know who wrote the Gita and the Kurukshetra. It was written to us. It was written by Vedavyasji. Thank you so much. Is Lord Krishna said in Sanskrit? Yes, supposed to have said it in Sanskrit. Yeah. So Chandani Mataji says, I'm a little confused with all the characters. Yeah. So today we saw Sanjaya. Sanjaya is the one who's narrating what is happening in the battlefield to Dhritarashtra. We saw the conversation that happened between Dronacharya. Dronacharya didn't speak, but we saw what Duryodhana conveyed to Dronacharya with respect to making sure that everyone is on his side. He didn't want either Dronacharya or Bhishma to change their minds. He wanted to make sure that they were all with him. That was the only thing that Duryodhana speaks. And then after that, you saw Arjuna speaking. Arjuna asks Lord Krishna to take the chariot to the center of the battlefield, and then he gives the reasons that he kind of thinks are something that's going to prevent him or restraining him from fighting this battle. Okay, those are the 5 reasons he gave. We saw 4 reasons in this chapter. The 5th reason will come in the next chapter. Okay. Then it was recited in Sanskrit by Lord Krishna. Later it was dictated by Vedavas by Lord Ganesha. Yeah, that's what the scriptures say. Yes. Okay, Riyaji, thank you so much. Kavyam Mataji, thank you so much. Can we get the PPT? Yes, sure. Can get the PPT. No problem.
Mataji,
Yes.
who is this Dronacharya and Bhishma?
Dronacharya was the teacher of the Kauravas and the Pandavas.
Bhishma.
Bhishma was the grandfather of.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. From where can we get the PPT? I will give the PPT to my admin team. They will share it with you. Hare Krishna, where can we get the authentic Mahabharata? Please, again and again, I'm telling you, please buy Prabhupada's book, Bhagavad Gita as it is. And I'm sure the admins must have also shared the link. If you want to buy the book, from the link that we have given you. We give you a lot more books. We just don't give you one book. But if you just want to buy only one book, then you can go and buy it from Amazon or Flipkart or whatever. But if you buy it from, ISKCON Mangalore, you will get, I told you, right? I think, let me share the screen. This is what you will get if you buy from ISKCON Mangalore. Prabhuji is giving 2 more books. These are beautiful books. You will enjoy this book. This is Science of Self-Realization, Perfect Answers and Perfect Questions. And the wonderful laminated pic of Radha Krishna and Japa Mala and a Japa bag as well. Okay. So Hare Krishna, any other question? See, my desk, my table always have this book with me. So I will keep showing you this book every now and then because this is my best buddy. This is my friend. Okay, any other question? If no other question, shall we end this session today? Tomorrow's session will end on time. This was the first session, so we had to cover a lot of things. We had to give you a background of the Bhagavad Gita and as well as had to touch upon Mahabharata and also about ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada. From tomorrow, we'll start on time and we'll finish on time. Okay? Hare Krishna, everyone. Vancha kalpata rupyascha kripa sandhobhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So, see you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mata.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow. Okay.